Welcome back to Straight Facts on Friday. I'm joined by Staffy and Lawless. No Don today. It's his birthday, and he was also busy this afternoon. So he's having a little bit of a day off, although I know he's at a live event tonight with Lawless and Potsy and the boys. So good luck with that.
I don't get a day off from Don, unfortunately. I have to see him later on. So you guys do.
And I think it suits him. He doesn't want to have to answer for his club's crimes. And I say his club's crimes, Chelsea fans are in a very bad mood. And I'm sorry to say this, Undertaker, from the beginning. Garnacho is not close. You're talking out your ass, Cherry, to Chelsea. Oh, it is very close. It's personal terms have been no problem. Official bids are on their way in. Man United are looking like they want to sell. So the idea that it isn't close to being a completed deal, I think, is a little bit of copium there, Mr. Undertaker. I really, really do. Obviously, we're going to touch on that transfer. We're touching on what Arsenal are doing. Man United formally putting in, it was edited by Fabrizio. He wrote a 40 million euro offer for Patrick Dorgu, which has now been retracted. It's a 30 million euro bid, so around 25 million pounds. And there's a feeling that deal is close to completion. We're going to look ahead of some of the games coming up this weekend as well. So loads to talk about, loads to go through. Make sure you're hitting the like and the share buttons. Get your comments in as well. Any questions you've got for the panel, feel free, to send them in, because I know there's loads going on right now. And instantly, look, Chelsea fans in meltdown here. Again, the Undertaker says, we are not getting top four this season. Let me just throw this to you, Staffy. There are a lot of United fans kicking off and angry. There are a lot of Chelsea fans fuming at the idea of getting Garnacho. How do you see this deal? First of all, from a Chelsea perspective, is it good or bad business for them?
Excuse the pun, the Undertaker, but you're a dead man walking, because there's nothing you can do about it. You're getting Garnacho, and you just have to accept it. If you want me to listen, I guess I have to be unbiased here and take my Man United hat off, even though I don't want to. But now, listen, I understand the Chelsea frustration. I think it's a little bit overboard with some of the things that I've heard and said. So I've heard particular people yesterday, and I won't drop names, but I heard particular people yesterday on YouTube and on Twitter saying, I hope he gets injured in today's game. I hope he breaks his leg. I've never wished an ACL on a player. So I'm like, whoa, okay, it's not that deep, bro. But I understand the frustrations. They haven't had a recognized goal scorer in their team for quite a while now. And listen, you know, I've been a fan of what's his name, Nico Jackson. But the more you watch him and the more you see his struggles, especially in front of the net, you do understand that at least he needs someone that's equal to his level of development or wherever he's in his career, but he needs to have different attributes with his goal scoring. You need someone who's just an out goal scorer, and then you got the striker who can do the link up and all that. The fact that they still haven't got one in, it is frustrating, and I understand why. And when you see the type of links that they're having, especially Garnacho, especially with the amount of money that they are going to drop on Garnacho, which is rumored to be somewhere around 60 million. So I understand the frustrations, because that 60 million, that's like 3 million off getting Osimhen. And whether that door closed or not, that's not the point that I'm making. The point that I'm making is that that money is a striker's money, and they need a striker. And it's been evidential that they need a striker. They're not getting a striker. They're actually going to get another winger. And it's not one of those where they're just going for potential on a cheap. No, they're spending a lot of money for potential. I mean, 60 million for a 20-year-old is always a lot of money, you know. Forget his numbers in the Premier League. So I understand where the frustration is coming from. They're not really addressing the biggest areas that they need on the pitch right now, which is, as I said, as a striker. Or even, I'll tell you what, even if they went and got a goalkeeper, they'll be like, we still needed a striker, but at least I understand that you went and got another position that we're weak in, which is goalkeeper, because David Sanchez is not it. A big chunk of your money going to Garnacho, who they don't deem as that good. I understand where the frustration is coming from, you know, so I do hear it. As a United fan, listen, there's still a bit of a meltdown with the United fans as well. And everyone's saying, who sells these young... Someone told me this yesterday. They're like, oh, I've never seen Bayern, Barcelona, and Real Madrid sell these youngsters. Why are we doing that? Number one, that is completely incorrect. Because as I said before, you look at La Liga, the La Liga is infested with Real Madrid academy products. The only difference is we just hold on to them for too long. We grow this weird attachment to them. We all think they're going to be the Timu version of the class in 1992, and then their value ends up dropping in a couple years, and then we don't get any money for them, and then we wonder why the club is not doing well with PSR. So thankfully, fans don't run these decisions in the board, and it's the professionals that make these decisions. But by that case, every academy product that we have wouldn't be sold. I'll tell you what, they'll do the same thing with Collier next. We had a little bit of a talk about him yesterday, me and you, and I look at him, I'm like, bro, he's another flipper that if we can get 10 to 15 mil for him in the next season, I'll gladly sell him. In fact, look at the chat saying we sold Mark Gui to Chelsea. That was Barcelona. That's like an academy product that they sold. So that is actually factually incorrect. But yeah, listen, to turn down 6 million potentially from Chelsea, that number one leaves your competitor, goes into your pockets, helps you with your PSR issues, because apparently the experts are saying that we're on the verge of reaching PSR. If we get that 60 million, that allows you to spend about double to triple of that money in the market. So you get that money, you do the PSR thing, and now you can actually go and reinforce and sign a player that might fit the system a little bit more, depending on what the manager wants. The only bad thing about it is the player FC people. And I said it before, and I'm going to say it again. Under Amarim, I don't care for player FC. If you want to cry over Garnacho, if you want to cry over Casemiro, you want to cry over Rashford, choose who you want to cry over, but just go pick a corner and cry in that corner quietly. I don't want to hear you because I don't care. All I care for is the progress of that team and this club being able to succeed with this manager. And if it means that we have to sell a player or two right now that you guys like for the betterment in the near future, so be it. So I'm happy, bro. I'm happy for the Chelsea tiers, and I'm happy for the Garnacho stand tiers. It's a great day for me, bro. Happy Friday, everyone. Smash a like on the video.
How do you see this, Lawless? You know, a lot of United fans angry that youth players are being sold. It's against the club's philosophy and mantra, etc. Do you agree with the United fans saying that?
Look, I understand it. Like as a West Ham fan, with similar, in terms of our love for bringing through academy players and seeing young players come through your club. It's always something that you take great pride in as a fan. So I completely get it. I heard the Garnacho chants ringing around Old Trafford last night as well. I heard some songs for him. So yeah, I think some Man United fans like Staffy and others do too much with saying, he's trash or he's not that good. Or...
I didn't say he's trash. I spoke for like 3 minutes, not once.
No, I'm not saying now, but I think, maybe Don, it's you to down. I think there's a talent there. He's not been good, but listen, there is no downside that I can see to selling this guy for 60 million pounds.
Exactly. I was going to ask you that. Do you think he's 60 million, Lawless?
No.
If West Ham come out right now and say, hey, guys, we're signing the next big talent for 60 million, and you're getting excited, like, oh, shit, who are you signing? And then you see the news says Garnacho. How would you react, Lawless? Honestly.
Yeah, listen, no, I think that is just good business because it seems to me that he probably don't fit the way Amarin wants to play, maybe not fit his style. And if he's happy to sell him, you want to back this new coach, this new process. If the guy, Amarin says, yes, I'm happy to sell him. We don't need him. I want to go in this direction. If he's like fighting and kicking and screaming, I want to keep this guy and they're selling him, then all of you guys should be unhappy with that because you're trying to back this new process. Yeah. And he's saying, I need him. So, yeah, great business. Like you've said, pure profit. Go and invest. Look, he's 20 million. He 20 years old. He could get better. But at the end of the day, I can't see him ever. I think he can definitely improve, but I can't see him becoming that world-class superstar.
There is a ceiling
talent
to how good he can get, Lawless.
Yes.
And that's the thing that some people don't understand. Listen, there's a lot of times where I came out here after a game and I said a lot of people are trash. Don't take that too serious. I'm emotional after a loss. I'm a football fan. We all do that. But in a regular setting where I'm talking to you right now based on just logic and there's no emotion right now that is motivating the way that I speak, I don't think Garnacho is trash. I thought yesterday actually had a decent game just because he got
find it curious that Amarin started him. Like he actually started the game because
I knew he was going to start him because it's not like we have any options to play in that position.
Because if he does get injured, that's a 60 million pound deal. If he did get injured,
you've got that. But at the same time, Chelsea and other clubs are deliberating whether we pay that. What you can't do is say to Chelsea, he's a top performer, he's a top member of our team, you've got to pay top dollar, and then he's sitting in the stands. because this is where
I think if he sits in the stands, Terry, it sends one message that he is actually leaving. So I don't think we could do that because there was nothing agreed.
There's that. And I think this is the problem with all these conversations. Your point you raised, Lawless, holds water, but it's like the United fans getting angry about it. We are losing about, over every 3-year period, we're losing nearly £200 million in interest payments. And the last 12 months, it works out about 60 million. So I saw one genius United fan today say, so we're selling Garnacho for 60 million to cover the interest payments. No, I don't even know where people are getting this bad math and business sense from. We're not selling Garnacho to cover the interest payments. We're selling Garnacho for, I think there is layered reasons. And the problem with a lot of football fans, all of us, we all do this at times, is we are all subjective and emotional. I like Garnacho, so it's a disgrace we're selling him. Well, how about the key football decision makers and the manager think that how we want to progress and play over the next 2 to 3 years, he'll do well at it, but they don't think he's going to be amazing at it. So therefore, he's an asset we can sell to raise money, to bring players in who will be better in the new system than Garnacho, in the hope that Man United are made better. Now, as much as they say that's a disgrace and we shouldn't sell him, what I've just said also holds water. I'm just imploring Man United fans to control the narrative a little bit, remain a little bit more patient. You maybe put out your criticism, because I personally don't want to sell him. My personal feeling is I would like him to stay. But at the same time, I keep saying it every week. Not every defeat am I going to have a meltdown over. Not every decision that my board make, I'm going to criticize it. In fact, when we brought in Dan Ashworth, I thought it was a good bit of business. 9 months later, when we learned what he didn't work, when actually the bad decision was actually bringing him in and giving him an opportunity. So sometimes there'll be decisions you think are bad that will end up being good. Sometimes there'll be decisions that you think are good that will end up being bad. But I just don't think we can be having, at this stage of what we're trying to achieve, we can be having a meltdown at every single situation. And for me, I think I'm seeing people say, yeah, but we paid 70 million for Højlund. How are we only getting 60 million for Garnacho? But this is where the logic goes out the window. But we all know we overpaid for Højlund. We all know that up until the summer just gone, we were drastically paying over the odds for everyone we bought. So it's crazy. I'm hearing people turn around and say things along the lines of selling him as bad as us buying Mount. But that was done by two completely different groups of people running our football club. I don't understand how we're muddying.
Not just that, by the way.
It's crazy.
And I feel like a lot of people miss this. And I'm going to ask you guys, I already know that you know what the answer is. But I'm going to ask you right now. Lawless, since you're not a United fan, if you are selling a player right now, let's say Kudus is selling, who's one club you can bet on to come in and pay more odds than anyone else? Who's the first club you think of that, you know what, I can get max money out of this club? Who
Chelsea.
Well, other than Chelsea, you would probably say Man United.
Oh, Man United.
Man United are known to pay over the odds, right? No, I'm not saying in a world where like we just need this play. I'm just saying Manchester United are known, and everyone says this. All our rivals say this. They always say Manchester United are known for overpaying for players in the market. Okay, so they always say that. The minute we sell a player, who's one club that we know can't bid for him? It's us. So you're talking about the giant, one club in the world that everyone knows when you want to sell a player, someone is going to come in and overbid. Manchester United, you already lose a juggernaut in the market because you are that juggernaut. I can't sell to myself, right? So people need to understand, because we overpaid for certain players, it doesn't mean that other clubs will do. Because there's no equivalent to Manchester United when United are selling. You know what I'm saying? So you lose that one team that you know are guaranteed to come in and maybe pay a little bit over the odds. So when people say, how come we bought Højlund for 75 and now we're only going to sell Garnacho for 60? Number one, Højlund should have never been 75. And we all at that time thought that was a mistake. Secondly, there's no one that's going to come in and do the United job when United are selling. So we have to now look at who potentially could be the replacement for us in that scenario. It could be a Chelsea. It could be an I can't even say an Arsenal, but it has to be one of those big clubs. We are fortunate to be in a situation where Chelsea, in the situation that they're in and the stage that they're in, they're even willing to come in and spend 60 million on a player who's not a priority for us. And honestly, it's not even a priority for them. The closest bid to that is 50 million euros with bonuses from Napoli in a league that Garnacho doesn't want to go in. You just have to look at it right now, United. Is it an opportunity that's worth of me taking, or do I just say no? But I'll be honest with you, I don't think we'll ever get another offer like that for Garnacho. I really don't think so.
And I understand, and I'm not even suggesting, because this is what happens. You get, again, the low IQ. You found people shouldn't be negative or have an opinion, Terry. No, have an opinion, but at least see it from the other side. Be open, be objective. I keep reading. Do you know, if we had different billionaire owners that had paid off our debt, another 2 voice notes sent today to all the financial experts that we see on the news, none of them have responded. I'm under the impression that the debt can't just be paid off anyway. It has to be paid off organically. If the owners pump money into the club to pay these debts off, we can't just suddenly start spending this newfound money that we're no longer spending on interest on players. I don't think it works that way. PSR regulations will deduct that money from the new potential profitability through our outgoings as a football club diminishing. So the idea that these owners are just taking us backwards is unbelievable. We have zero patience as a fact. We have less patience than I thought we would. And that doesn't mean that some people that don't want this deal to happen, it doesn't mean that fans that think this is the wrong direction to go in are wrong. So I want to be very clear. If this ends up going wrong and in 2 or 3 years' time we're in even a worse situation, you know, we'll talk. I'm not saying that they are wrong. It's the lack of balance in the conversations from Man United fans, which I find exhausting. It's probably the nicest way I can word it. It's exhausting listening to it. And it's okay. I understand it. You don't think that player should leave. You think if we start doing this, it's going to end in this situation here. How about the opposite side of the coin? I'm not hearing any conversations about it. And you know, the people in the stranger situation, which I've loved listening to the last couple of days, because they're between a rock and a hard place. They've done the whole crap billionaire, broke billionaire, terrible owners. They're going to ruin the club. But the players they're actually trying to force out are all the dead wood that they consider to be dead wood. The Rashfords, the Garnachos, the Antonys, the Casemiros. So the people being pushed away from the football club by the owners that are supposedly bad are also the same people that this particular group of United fans want out the football club. So I'm sort of sitting there watching their streams, reading their tweets. And it's weird because on one tweet, they're slagging the owners off for being terrible. But then they're like, oh, I think we should be getting rid of these players. It's like, hang on a minute then. See, this is why what I mean by balance. It doesn't make sense for you to say the new ownership, the new structure is terrible in every way, shape, or form. But then in a completely separate conversation, you're like, actually, it's right we're selling these players and reinvesting in others. Because if that action's right, how can everything the new ownership be doing be wrong? And this is my problem with all of it. I think people look at what right now it's fashionable to hit hate on Ineos. And I don't agree with everything they've done. And it's like everything they do, it's fashionable to attack. The problem is when you start looking through multiple streams or multiple tweets or multiple articles that these people write, it's hang on. These 3 things you've said agree with some of the actions under Ineos. Okay. You've said before that we should have a manager with a fixed style that he never yields from. We should go after a specific type of player. Nobody should be beyond reproach and not be able to be sold. The players you've selected for Deadwood are on the list of players that are moving out of the club first, as an example. You've criticized us for years for overpaying and not selling players for the right amount of money, as an example. All these things start to happen, and you ignore that that's coming from the same people that you're saying are bad owners. And that's why I think I'm so exhausted with listening to Man United fans on this subject, is that there's just no balance to the conversations. And I'll get accused of being an Ineos mouthpiece, which just tells me their brains are so wired to think polarized. Well, no, I've criticized the price hike on tickets. I've criticized what they've done with the donations to charities as an example. I've criticized their what happened with Dan Ashworth. They brought him in. They should have done better due diligence. They didn't. They went with his game plan. It set us back by 6 months and cost us money. So there's loads I've criticized. And again, a mouthpiece would not be sitting out here calling them out for these things. But I feel the biggest problem in our fan base is that there is not enough balance in conversations. There isn't enough. Do you know what? I disagree with your view of things, but that point holds water. Do you know what? I agree, actually. Doing that with the ticket prices is wrong. But you know what? If we've got 200 employees that are not needed at the club and we're losing hundreds of millions every year, and if we keep going in that direction, it means we're never going to be able to buy new players, it kind of makes sense that these cuts are done. You know, I've called out some of these financial experts online this week. I'm like, guys, you've told me in private chats that the owners can't just pay the debts off. I then ask you, why are you not mentioning that when you're being interviewed on the news, when everybody's saying why they're not paying the debts off? You ignore it. I want to know why you're saying different things in the media to me privately. because will that paint them in a better light? And I just feel like honest conversations need to be had, good, bad, or indifferent. And I just don't feel that's happening right now at Manchester United, and it's painful. We'll come back to United in a minute, though. When it comes to Chelsea, Lawless, how do you think this? Do you think Garnacho will improve them, or do you think they're better off spending that money on a new goalkeeper, on a goal scorer like Victor Osimhen? How do you see that personally?
Yeah, like, listen, I'm not saying it'd be a bad addition to Chelsea or anything, but for £60 million, I just don't get it. I don't get it at all. I think they've got enough young players that they aren't starved for youth like we are, for example. You know, they need some to come in and get some proven quality for that price. So that doesn't represent any sort of sensible value for Chelsea. Like, their whole model a lot of the time has been buying young players and improving their value and selling them if they're not for more, making profit. I don't see how they make profit on Garnacho. I don't see how Garnacho elevates them and gets them closer to a title as much as he may strengthen them in depth in that position. So, yeah, I think they'd be much better off spending that on a striker and then a goalkeeper, putting that money in that regard and looking at players that you know will come in. Not someone with potential. I think they need players that they know are proven. And Garnacho, like I said, he could get better. But right now, in his current form, he's not the guy that's going to come in and transform Chelsea and make them clinch top four and then push them next season into a title race and maybe get them over the line in that. So I don't understand it at all. I would love to know the logic and reasoning behind it, because 60 million, and again, I don't know what they're doing in terms of PSR and FFP right now, because they're surely going to run out of things they can sell like at this rate. So this, to me, is going to push them closer to that line and maybe limit them in terms of other areas they can spend. And if they miss out on top four this season, financially, it's going to be very tight. So I get why I think some Chelsea fans are overreacting, saying he's a bum, he's trash, blah, 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 Don. But I get why Chelsea fans would be against this. If he was cheaper, like 20 million or something, yeah. 60 million.
CFC Gamer says, I'm disappointed in Maresca because the fact that he is allowing this to happen is worrying. Would you put this on Enzo Maresca as per the comment here?
Well, he's a head coach, isn't he? Right? They've got head coach model. I don't think you can put it so much on Maresca. I think you have to put it on the sporting directors and the recruitment and all of that sort of thing. But at the same time, I don't know how much involved he is in terms of them where he can give his okay or not. Maresca should, if he's smart, be saying, come on, look, I can't see him improving our team. We could spend this 60 mil elsewhere. If he's just, saying, yeah, let's do it, then yeah. But this is the problem. We don't know these conversations. We don't know if he's being pushed on Maresca. That's what I would like to find out. Maybe some of the Chelsea insiders will know, but I don't think he can. He's not by far the main one to blame, but he probably should be doing more to prevent it and speak out, I'd say.
Yeah, I think it's more on the sporting directors, if I'm being honest. Yeah. I don't understand how Chelsea fans can be blaming him. We still live in this weird world where we think that managers, by and large, run football clubs. They may have, and we even get confused about what these vetoes mean. So a manager might have a veto that you can use on one transfer, maybe two transfers in a season, where they can say, you know what, I can say no to one or two. But typically speaking, Liverpool buy their players, City buy their. We know this. Pep's told us 100 times. City buy the players. He may have an input. He may get sent a list of these are the three that you can choose between. And maybe Maresca's had that. Maybe he's been given a list of these are the three players. And maybe on top of that list is Garnacho but we don't know what that list looks like as an example. So I do put it on the sporting / footballing directors. I wouldn't personally, if I was a Chelsea fan, be blaming him. Strasbourg Steve here says, wouldn't be spending that much on Garnacho personally. I would go for, is that pronounced Zagrova from Lille for a similar price. So I always trust Steve because Steve genuinely watches a lot of football from other leagues. I don't. So I'm not too familiar, but I'll trust him because he's got very good ball knowledge on other leagues, especially when it comes to League A. He loves that shit. He genuinely loves that shit. So,
wow.
I'll take you on that. Let's see what a few other people here are saying. Why is it such a story? I don't know, Twisted. You have to. I'd like, rather than you asking questions, I'd love to hear your opinion, my friend, on something for once, rather than just questions all the time, please.
Why is it such a story?
It's a massive story. Goldbridge crying every day about Garnacho. He thinks we should get 75 million. And listen, that's a fair opinion because he clearly rates Garnacho. And I've seen some of Mark's content, and a lot of what he says holds water. However, I just don't believe the doom and gloom is as big as people think. And I also understand if we get rid of him and the rumors today are true, so let's go by if the rumors are true, James, and we go and sign Cunha and we get Diblin. So we say those are the two, and we start playing better and we start winning more. Do you know how many people are going to be talking about Garnacho come the end of the season? Close to zero, because nobody will give a damn. So as much that's why I'm looking at it and remaining as level-headed as possible, because I know that if we get worse, people will kick off, and they may be right. And I'll be like, do you know what? My gut feeling said I'd like to keep Garnacho. This is right. If we get better, then everyone that's going crazy right now is going to have egg on their face. And I sometimes feel as fans, we don't need to put ourselves in that position. I think we can just remain objective for a period of time. If the new regime continues to make mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake, then fair enough. And by the way, some people might already think they have. They might think everything Ineos have done since they've been here is wrong, and it's taken us backwards as a club. And that's why I'm saying the conversations have to happen and they have to be balanced. The problem is at the moment, when I listen to a lot of different channels, it's very insular and it's very similar people with similar opinions talking, and there's very little balance. There's very little sensible grown-up debate and challenge. So a consensus can be found, and I think that's the biggest issue. And I'm sure Mark,
quickly, on the other side of the coin, Terry, how do you look at it? If you sell Garnacho for 60 million this window, you get to a point where you don't replace him or spend that money, say, on the striker because you know that it becomes too tight. Are you comfortable sort of going to the rest of the season? Say you finish mid-table because you haven't strengthened, but knowing that we've got that 60 million for the summer, where maybe we can actually have a little bit more flexibility in terms of spending it. Are you are you comfortable with that possibility?
I'm not comfortable if we don't bring in a replacement. So it feels to me that we're actually saving quite a lot of money on Anthony's salary. So we're saving around 84% of his bonuses and salary, which gives us, in terms of paying somebody, about £170,000 a week now additional income, which is great. That's been saved. But we have young Dorku lined up to come straight in for Anthony. Anthony has predominantly been coming on in those wing-back positions, so that's the squad status he has. I would be very disappointed if we sold Garnacho and nobody else came in. I understand that we'll wait until the summer, but we need that body. If we're going to wait till the summer, we're better off waiting until the summer to sell Garnacho. So that's where my mind will change. But I'm just not going to panic about it or get angry about it until it arrives, because I just don't think it's worth losing the energy. We were all saying a week ago, are we going to bring in? As soon as it was announced that Anthony was practically gone, within 24 hours, straight away, the Patrick links were there. So for me, I feel like once we get told there's a here we go, there's an agreement, and I think we are selling or securing exits before we commit to buying anybody, because we are sailing close to the PSR wind. And even if we're not as close to it as we're stating, we can't behave in the market the opposite to what we're telling the media. We can't tell everyone we're sailing close to the wind, but sign 3 players before anybody leaves, because that doesn't sell that narrative well. So whether it's through necessity or there's a little bit of gamesmanship, I feel that once the exit of Garnacho is announced, I believe very quickly you'll see us accelerate for one of our targets. And the only way I think we'd have done it the other way around is if one of our targets started moving legitimately closer to joining somebody else, and we were sort of forced into doing it. So to answer your question fully, I will be very frustrated if Garnacho leaves, if Rashford leaves, and we bring nobody in. That for me is ridiculous, because we do need the bodies at this point, because Garnacho played quite well last night. But if we bring someone else in and he's better and we've made a little bit of profit on top, fucking great. That's what I'd love in an ideal world. Whatever you sell players for, you buy for cheaper and they're better. Great, because then you can buy more. So for me, I'm staying relaxed on it until that
I don't
point.
think we're in a position to just sell and not buy anyways. I know you want to move on, but we're already short an attacker since we gave Chelsea Sancho. He should have been replaced, and we'd replace him. So if we're gonna sell 2 more and get no one, we pretty much don't have anyone to play up front.
No, I agree.
I think it's almost impossible that the Ineos would do that.
Yeah, and that's why I'm not panicking, because I just don't think it's gonna happen. And you look at players like Mbomo. Listen, all the clubs are saying their players are not for sale, and the managers in the press conference say, I think he'll be here. If the right money is offered, practically every player in the world is. In fact, they all are. If you wanted Vinicius Jr. today, there's a certain amount it will cost you a lot of money, but you pay the payout clause. Every player in the world is available at the right price. Man United could sign Mo Salah at the right price, because there is a price that we could offer this January where at some point even Liverpool fans go, you know what, for that much money, get it done. And
wages included, though. You'd have to offer Salah crazy wages.
No, he may not say yes. I'm just talking about getting an agreement from a football club. For me, I've always been under this belief in football. If you offer enough money, you can get anything done. Salah's an extreme example, but I still think it holds water. I think if you actually go to Wolves and say, there's £50 million. I think if you go to Southampton, who are going to get relegated with or without Diblin. They're going to get relegated with or without him, in my view, but he's very talented. If you go there now and say, listen, there is £30 million, they're liable to accept it. They just are. And we have good relationships with a lot of these football clubs. We have people in charge now that have been in football a long time that have relationships. I'm confident we will. Rahman here shares what Amorim has just said. He says anything can happen. He ruled out the exit of Rashford and Garnacho before the window shuts. Let's focus on the team and the players we have. But that works the same as all the other managers. He's just saying they're my players. He's not going to. So I just wouldn't take any of these comments from him or any other manager too seriously.
He gets asked about these players leaving all the time. He doesn't even get asked about the game, and he's frustrated. And I get him, because I was watching his press. You know what? When there's a Europa League game and then we have the game on Sunday, so they do the press conference for both. So halfway, they cut the questions from the game that just ended, and they're like, all right, now we're going to start previewing the Fulham game. While they're previewing the Fulham game, he got asked about Garnacho, Rashford, and Casemiro in 3 separate questions. Imagine you're a manager. You want to sit there. You want to talk about the game coming up, and all you're getting asked about is transfer questions. What more do you say about Rashford?
Manager or coach just said, yes, we're selling all of them. They're all for sale.
Yeah,
especially he can't say that. He's just gonna say oh, let's focus on the game. Like he has to,
and especially as most head coaches are not involved in any of that business. It's not. They get updates. They're not involved directly in those processes. It's not the Fergie days. It's not the Wenger days. It's not the Brian Clough days where they would be out driving to these players' houses and picking them up from airports and things like that. Like it just doesn't happen with them anymore. But it's why our fans are not as educated as our European counterparts, because our media tells us that net spend is real. Our media ask the managers these questions when they have almost no involvement whatsoever. We every time a manager comes in, they talk about the power they've got and they ignore the structures that are now at football clubs. It's not fair on our viewers, as in the general football viewer. We are only going for Garnacho because of Mudrik's situation. That's the only reason we're buying him. No one else has put 2 and 2 together. But Nav, you've got George. This is why I think it's more than that. You have young players like George at your club, Tariq George, who some Chelsea fans think are better than him. If it was just about filling a body, why spend 60 million to do it? This, for me, tells me that Chelsea actually rate him. It isn't just you're going to come in. I don't think they're buying Garnacho to purely play in their Conference League games. I don't believe that. I think he's there because I think Chelsea's hierarchy rate him. Nav also says, but you can also say, because United are in financial risk of PSR, American for an American, you scratch my back. Listen, I've said that on 3 shows now this week. There is a theory, and I think it holds some water, that these club owners have a bit of a gentleman's agreement. When any of us are struggling financially, one of us will step in and buy a player that's pure profit, that helps with PSR from the other. But once it's been done once, it has to be reciprocated. So I wouldn't be surprised if we help them with the Mount situation. Would I be shocked? Like, I can't believe this has happened if it turns out that we buy Mount and then a few years later they buy Garnacho, so we both help each other. I wouldn't be surprised in any capacity if that turned out to be true. It's a theory. It's a conspiracy theory, but I wouldn't be shocked. Mr. Staffy, can we be friends again? I respect you, is what Donna says. Okay, there we go.
That's cold.
Living in the US has infected me with conspiracy illness. United took Mount. We're returning the favor. We don't need a left winger. Desperate for a goalkeeper or striker. There's something in that. There's something in it. There's something in it. There really, really is. Viewers, give us your thoughts, feelings, and opinions on that. Another team, obviously, in the media a lot of the moment. Fans begging for something to happen. Their fans say Arsenal must act. Do you think they will, Lawless? Do you think Arsenal are going to make a move in this window? Or do you feel that it will peter into nothing for them?
No, yeah, I feel like they're going to, like, at this point, they have to. And I think they know the pressure to bring someone in, whoever it is, someone that is going to make a big impact. And you don't want to have to, like I said about it, panic sign someone just because, oh, damn, we're desperate. It has to be someone that's right. But yeah, it feels like it's going to happen. Because if they don't, like I said, they've built up a good bit of goodwill, the Cronkies, with the fans over the years. They really, started to mend bridges and build a good relationship, and that will all be undone. And I don't think it means the Cronkies are now going to go and start spending like crazy, like they have. They've given Arteta a lot of money, and they're probably thinking, I don't want to be throwing another 700 million for us to potentially get over the line. But I think they're going to do the bare minimum that they can get away with. I don't think you're going to see £100 million signing in January, but they'll bring someone in. I think that is a suitable, but like a Trossard type signing, that sort of signing that can cover. And then when the main players come back, boom, they take over. Or if it's a striker, this isn't going to be the guy. It's going to be the guy before the guy. Do you know what I mean? It's very hard to get these sort of players in January without having to overspend. And I think they don't want to be caught in a situation where they're overpaying for anyone. And, it's just going to come down to what is that sort of next tier down striker they can sign. So, yeah, I think they're going to do it. It's going to look horrendous on them if they don't. So what we got a week left now, isn't it? I think a week.
Yeah, like just over a week. Yeah.
Yeah, it's getting tight. And they're agreeing deals for the summer. They need to get one in at least. They need more than one for January if they're going to try and, keep Champions League alive, keep the title race alive. They need more than one, but they need at least one in. And it's probably going to need to be a striker or a right winger to replace and fill in for Saka.
Just a winger in general, bro. And because we used to talk in the summer how they need a left winger. Now they need a right winger because obviously they have an injury there.
Yeah, they probably need a right winger now. Would you say more than a left winger in this moment?
Not really, because at the end of the day, Saka does come back, so he still starts there. At least when you get a left winger,
it's very unlikely he comes back this season, Staffy. Let's be like, we're talking about what
who?
they
No,
need.
I get what you're saying.
Who this season?
Saka.
You don't think he'll play all season?
I don't think he's gonna. He may towards the end of the season start coming off the bench as a sub. I don't think we're gonna really see him to the end of this. Okay. If they're smart, if they could rush him back, they could. I think that would be the wrong thing. Like they could get to the point where he's able to play games of football, but they risk him re-injuring himself and causing further long-term damage.
Okay, I get what you mean. Sorry,
and I get what you're saying. But the reason I'm saying this, Lawless, is that listen, I'm not looking at just this season. They've needed a left wing for this season, and they just need a left wing in general. If they said, let's say they had a competent striker, a competent left winger, and now they have Saka injured, I'd get you. Be like, you know what? Get someone to fill in for Saka for the remainder of the season, and then when Saka's back, he could probably play across the front three, come off the bench sometimes. I get what you're saying. The reason I'm saying they still need a left winger more than nothing is because they still need to replace Martinelli anyways. Because I see them go into next season with Saka obviously starting, and I don't see Martinelli starting. And you can still shoehorn Wanyeri there until Saka's back. You can still shoehorn Martinelli there. There is a few options there. They still need a striker. They need a left winger, and then they need someone to fill in for Saka. They just have a lot of needs, and I'm not gonna lie. It's gonna be really disappointing if you're an Arsenal fan, because I watch a lot of their games, and there's a lot of games where I just look at the defending that they do, and I'm like, this defense is so good. They deserve an attack to bail them out in certain games, because sometimes they'll give away a goal, they'll make a mistake, they'll be in a shootout where obviously they can't keep the other team down to like not scoring. But I just look at the front line, and it's quite disappointing sometimes because they don't have a front line that equates to how good their defense is. Like you ever seen those meme where they put like a Ferrari in the back and it shows the back of the car and how good it is, and then they show the front of the car and it's like absolutely crap. That's how I look at Arsenal.
That's awesome.
And what's more disappointing is like I don't see any strong links that they have this January.
No.
And
the thing is, though, Staffy, they can afford to wait till the summer for that left wing signing.
They can't afford to wait.
They can wait. They can wait. No, they can wait till the summer for the left wing signing. I don't think they can wait till the summer for the striker or the right winger. And that's what I'm saying. When I'm saying right wing is a higher priority, long term, left wing is a higher priority. But what I'm saying is for January, for them this season, so we're talking about them potentially still trying to get something out of this season. Right wing has to be a higher priority because Martinelli is still, even though they need to improve him, he's still good enough. The drop off on the right wing is a lot bigger. So for them, if you look this season, Staff, if we're talking right, if they want to try and still win the Champions League, still win the league, what should they prioritize? Right?
I just think equally both sides right now are as bad as each other because Saka's not there. That's the difference. You probably rate the left wing a little bit more now. I just don't rate it. And like I look at they're linked with Cunha, and I'm not gonna lie, look at that side again. I don't get it. They should not be pursuing Cunha. Cunha is gonna be expensive, and it's not what they need. Like he couldn't be further, and it's not because I want him United. I promise you. I swear, if he goes to Forest, I swear to God, Forest is a better fit for him than Arsenal. Because I look at what Arsenal need, and at least I'll be consistent with what I'm saying. Right now, I've been saying they either need a left winger or they need a striker. When you need a striker, now Cunha could play across the front three, right? He could play in the 9, 10, left, and potentially on the right. I haven't seen him on the right, but I'm sure he could do it. The difference with Cunha is Cunha, if he plays in a transitional team like Forest or a transitional team like United, because we're not really that position-based team. Even when we're the finished article with Amorim, we shouldn't be just a position-based team. They need someone who's in front of the ball, not behind the ball. So when I say behind the ball, it's because I look at Cunha. Cunha is one of the best ball carriers in the league, right? They have the way that they set up their midfield and the front three. They don't really have a position that's tailor-made for him. So if you bring in Cunha, you're gonna either put him on the left or you're gonna put him in the 9. So the way Arteta has his left wingers playing, they play more like touchline wingers. You have Saka doing a little bit more of the creative thing. He cuts in a little bit more, gets into the box and all that. But then you have on the other side, they don't play the way that Cunha plays. Cunha likes to pick up the ball and he likes to drive into the box. Martinelli doesn't really do that. Cunha's not going to pick up the ball and just go to the byline, and that's not his job. And if you put him in the 9, you can shoehorn him there. But like, I'll be very honest with you, Cunha doesn't have a great conversion rate. It's because he's not that type of player. They need, and Hassam said it, I think, the best. He did it on that one show we all did together when everyone's on Straight Facts together. He said they need a robotic striker. And what I think he meant to say is they need a 9 that just camps into the box, gets minimal touches probably in the game. Probably is not the easiest on the eye, but all he's going to do is he's going to create space in the box. He's going to make the right runs, and he's going to score like one every like 3-4 chances created. Basically equivalent to what Haaland does. Not at the same rate, but what Haaland does. I look at Cunha, you could shoehorn him into something, but you don't really have the position for him. Even in the midfield, because I saw some people saying play him in the 10. You don't really play with the 10 like that because you don't have that position right now. If you do create that position for him in the midfield, it means what's his name? Odegaard has to drop a little bit deeper, be more of a controller. And he already's been doing that, and he's been getting a lot of hate. And I don't know why Odegaard gets that much hate that he gets at Arsenal. So they don't have a tailor-made position for him. That is not where you want to put 80 million, 60 to 80 million, whatever his price is. That would, to me, that's poor squad building again. Traps, have a day off, bro. Have a day off. Why is Traps here, man?
Hope you're well, Traps. Long time no speak or see. Hope you're good, bro. I hope you're good. Look, I get where you're coming from around what they need, but I still think if they really want Cunha, this is why though they might still go for Cunha, because I think he's still one of their top targets now or in the summer. And if Forest are interested and United are genuinely pushing, say those stories are true, Arsenal can't just sit there and allow that to happen. They have to go and get it done.
No,
So
they don't have to, Terry. They don't have to go get a player that doesn't fit what they do. That's what I'm trying to say.
What?
I like Cunha as a player, but it's all about identifying what you need. And this is why, listen, I look at the squad building that Arteta done over the last 2 summers. I don't think he identified a lot of the correct players. That's why we go back and we're talking right now about Marino. That's why we go back and we talk about what's his name, Havertz. Players that you signed a position that wasn't made for them. I don't think they have a position that's tailor-made for him. If you're going to spend, it's a lot of money to spend 70, 80 million for Cunha. If you're going to spend it on him, you need to have a position where he's going to thrive in. You don't spend 80 million to shoehorn him in. Because I'll promise you this. I promise you, if Cunha goes to Arsenal, we'll be sitting here in about a season and a half, and we'll be having similar conversations to what we're having with Havertz. We're going to talk about the lack of goals that he's getting. They're going to be calling him a donkey or something like they do, and they're going to be complaining about the lack of goals.
Maybe you misunderstood what I said, so I'll rephrase it because it's my fault probably. I'm not saying just sign him as the only attacker, but let's say they want Gyökeres, but they can only get him in the summer. Say they want to sign this summer Gyökeres and Cunha. They want to add them both to their attacking line. The point I'm making is, if it looks as though someone else is going to take Cunha now, they might have to act now rather than the summer, but it doesn't mean it should be their only number 9 signing. So let me ask, if right now they could sign Gyökeres and Cunha, would you still say don't sign Cunha?
If they can sign both of them in January?
If they could, yeah, whether it's January in the summer, if they could sign Cunha and another out-and-out number 9, is Cunha a good bit of business for Arsenal, or do you think they should avoid him altogether?
I still don't think so. It's because it's one of those where I don't think the relationship works. I look at what your needs versus what you're getting, and I don't think it's a good match. He reminds me a lot, and he's a lot better off the ball than him, but he reminds me a lot of Trossard. Trossard is not really a left winger. He's not really just an out 10. He's not really a false 9. He can play multiple positions. Like, you look at how he was used at Brighton. He was used a lot different than Arsenal, which I still think he's been decent for Arsenal. But I just look at him and I'm like, there's a reason why Trossard comes off the bench. He doesn't have one position that fits him, especially off the ball. I mean, Cunha would be magnificent off the ball. Don't get me wrong. I look at Cunha. Cunha is one of the best off the ball pressers. So if you put him in an Arteta system, 100% off the ball, he'd be amazing. It's more on the other side. I don't think Arsenal needs someone like him. So if you tell me, oh, but it's an opportunity, what if someone else gets him? I really wouldn't care, because at the end of the day, it's not what you need. You know what I'm saying? That's all it is. I think that money should be prioritized for an out-and-out 9 or a real left winger. Cunha is not a real left winger. He needs a style of play that is similar to what Emery's trying to do, in my opinion, or Nottingham Forest. I think he would bang at Nottingham Forest. Him and what's his name, Morgan Gibbs-White on the transitions. Oh my days! Like, I swear to God, if Forest get him, I'll be disappointed because United didn't get him. But I swear to God, if they get him, I'll make a serious cost for them to finish in the top 2, because they're already flying. To add someone like him to the Nuno system, the way that they play off the ball, and then the transition, I swear it's a match made in heaven. And this is, I promise you, this is not Arsenal hate. Okay. I just think 80 million should be spent a lot more wisely than that.
How happy would you be if Garnacho was to leave Man United and Cunha was a replacement?
I'd be out of this world, bro. Bro, you wouldn't contain me online. You wouldn't be able to contain me, because like, we'll get the equivalent of Ahmad on the other side, because I think Ahmad is probably one of the best pressers in the Premier League. Like, the amount of goals that Ahmad scores because of his own work is absolutely amazing. And I look at Cunha. Just go watch again that game that we played against Wolves. Cunha was all over the place. And you know what I love about Cunha? He likes to get dirty. Like, you know how we talk about Bruno, Terry? He's like, oh, like, when we're not winning the game, he wants to make something out of nothing. He's demanding the ball. He's trying to run all around and get the ball. Go look at that game again. The amount of times that Cunha tracked back Ahmad, tackled him, won the ball, and started the counter-attack himself is absolutely amazing. I look at him, and I actually tweeted that yesterday. You could go to my Twitter right now. I said, if Ineos flip Garnacho for Cunha, and I just put the clapping emojis, because I couldn't believe that would be amazing business for what we need. But as I said again, because I'm seeing the chat is rattled, I promise you, this is not an Arsenal agenda. I'm not hating on Arsenal. I'm generally, this is my honest opinion as a man of what I think about what Arsenal need. 80 million on Cunha is not what you need. It might be better than what you have. I'm not saying that, but it's not the right way to spend that money, in my humble opinion.
This super chat from Gray says, do you think Amorim was promised signings in January when Ineos had meetings with him? If they can't get the right players, then just should they just wait until the summer?
The only disagreement I would have here, I can't really disagree, but I would disagree with that logic if I'm Ineos, is because, Grace, people need to remember this. Amarim asked to come into the summer. He said, can we wait until the summer? He didn't want to come in mid-season because he knows the magnitude of the job and how much he needs to change, at least stylistically, with this team. They said it's now or never. If I put you in a situation where it's now or never, then I better be prepared for you. You know what I'm saying? It's like if we're going out, guys, and I tell you, instead of going out at 10 p.m. tonight, our dinner, we're going to go at 8 or at 7. And you're going to be like, Staffy, but our reservation's at 10. I'm like, no. Don't worry. I promise you, when we get there, we'll find a table. We get there, we don't find a table. You're going to be like, wait, so you made me go out of my plans, and now I'm stuck for the remainder of the time without a table because you rushed it. That's the same thing with Amarim. No way you rush him and you're not going to back him. I think that would be a massive mistake for Minions. They'll lose a lot of people's trust.
Jason says, Man United fans, Garnacho is better than... No real Man United fan ever said Garnacho is better than Saka. Not on this channel anyway. So go chat to those weirdos that said that. This is interesting news that's come out from Rob Dawson. The Man United have asked to be kept informed around the developments regarding Christopher and Nkunku's future, whilst Chelsea continue to weigh up a move for Garnacho. Again, how would you feel about that? Would that be good business, Lawless, for Man United?
I mean, I think what Staffy said, that the selling Garnacho and spending that money on Cunha makes much more sense. If you get Nkunku, which, you know, he's not the best in the world. I think there's a good player in there and he's got pace in that. I just don't get that. That's some sort of weird behind the scenes dealing, like this conspiracy theory that you lot are talking about. That adds more credence to that. Like, if
how old do you think he is, by the way, Lawless?
What's that?
How old do you think he is?
Who? Garnacho or Nkunku?
No, Nkunku. We all know Garnacho's 20. How old do you think Nkunku is?
Nkunku, probably early 20s, probably like, I'd say 23.
See, that's what I love about it. Nkunku's 28, bro.
27.
Okay, yeah.
27, sorry. 27 going 28.
He's one of them. Okay, yeah. No, it's I know,
and
like,
injury record is not that good.
But he's not. Again, this comes back to players that you're spending that. Let's say if you're doing that and you get him for 60 million and you sell Garnacho for 6 million, pay 6 million for Nkunku. Same with Chelsea. This isn't a player that you're splashing on that's coming in that makes a massive impact. Okay, maybe he fits Amarim more, and that's why you want him. But he's not gonna like a level up like you're saying with Cunha, where you could go and give us 60 million for Anthony, right? Put that towards Cunha. That this just seems to be like it would be some behind the scenes.
Yeah. I like Nkunku. I do. Scored a few goals this year. My worry is if he was to play twice a week, high intensity football. He's been playing a lot of Conference League. Would his body hold up? I'd rather go for Cunha myself.
He's been very underwhelming, Terry, and ever since he left where did he play? What's it called, Leipzig? Ever since he left, he's been just very underwhelming. I looked at him. I thought he was a lot younger a few months ago until I found out he's actually a lot older. I was like, you know what? I don't mind being that team that gives him a second chance just because he was injured his first couple years with Chelsea. But when I saw his age and when I saw like everything around it, bro, I'm like, nah, I'm not trying to do this. The only way I'd entertain this is that if Chelsea buy Garnacho from us, and then we'll do him a favor and take one of Felix or Nkunku on loan because it looks like they want to offload both of them. So it's one of those. If we do two separate deals, one of them is us taking a player on loan, I wouldn't mind it because I wouldn't mind taking one player on loan for the rest of the season. Yeah, if it's any swaps or whatever, no, I need a full sale for Garnacho.
I get that. Staffy made a compelling argument. Cunha playing for a possession-based team is something we haven't seen. I have my doubts on Cunha. Big up the panel is what Sadiq says here. Thank you, Sadiq.
Sadiq, he did pretty bad for Atletico, I'll be honest. And Atletico had a lot more possession than Wolves did. Like, Cunha was a bust for Atletico, and a lot of people forget that he played there. He just rediscovered himself when he came to the Premier League with Wolves.
Well, Man United were linked to him when he was at Atty, and I remember people saying, "Do you want him?" And I said at the time, I
thought he was trash. I'll be honest. I
just looked at his record there, and I went, "No." Now I've watched him in the Prem, and how again, if we still had Ten Hag, I don't think I'd want him. But now with the way we set up with the kind of 2-10s, I think we need energy. I think we need legs. I think we need those pressing monsters, and I think he's someone that would fit, and he's proven himself to be a Premier League player. Speaking of players, before we move on to some of this weekend's action. West Ham are linked with a move for Brian Brobbey, but it's just been announced by Fabrizio Romano that Spurs have also inquired about the same loan conditions. So Spurs and West Ham looking at the Ajax and Dutch forward Brian Brobbey. Are you excited about that one, Lawless?
Excited is not the word that I would use, to be honest. Look, if we're talking straight loan, no obligations, I'm not very fussy in terms of who comes in, because we just need someone to come in. We need bodies, because all we got is Danny Ings. So I'm happy with that. The positive, obviously, he's already played with Kudus, Alvarez, so there's some sort of chemistry there, but I just don't see him being the guy long term for us to go and sign and we just end up with another player on our books. And it's when we're talking about this, it's so funny like how many parallels there are between our clubs and things like that, because this is the thing: you sign out of desperation, you end up with someone on your books that you're paying that isn't really going to bang goals. Like, I think he had one prolific season at Ajax, and that was it. And that's it. And Terry, you likened him before we went on to a bit like an Antonio style player, which for us, we've been trying to move on from Antonio. And it's the same way with Awani from Forest, another player that isn't exactly prolific, but has a little bit of strength, can hold up the ball, that sort of stuff. Like, yeah, for a Moyes system, that would have been great, but we're trying to move on. And I get it, we're desperate. We're just trying to get bodies in, but I don't want to have to be obligated to sign someone that is not going to be good enough, that is not going to be prolific and be the guy we need. We do need a focal point, but I would like them to actually chip in with the goals as well, rather than just be a body up top. So yeah, Spurs can have him.
Yeah, I think he's a good player. I don't know. I think you could do better. I mean, the fact is, you put a bid in for John Duran, and I just think, I feel like how much are you prepared to pay? Like, if you were in charge, how much do you think John Duran is worth, and what would be the maximum you think West Ham should offer? They've had obviously 57 million turned down.
Yeah, I think we also had a 63 million pound bid turned down after that, and that is getting to the limit, because I think he's a good player and he's shown himself, but he's still young and he still hasn't had we're not talking about a player that's had a season where he's bagged 20 odd goals. Do you know what I mean? He hasn't got that track record in the appearances he's had. He's been prolific, but we haven't got a 2-3 season, sample size where we can say, yes, consistently season in, season out, he's bagged goals. I think there's a lot of potential there. So yeah, when you're getting towards the 70 million, that's the limit. They want 80 million pounds, about 100 million euros. That's what they're talking. I think that's too much. In our situation, if we had the money, I would just pay it if it weren't going to put us anywhere near, and we could still sign other players that weren't going to put us in trouble. I'd be like, do you know what? Just overpay. Just because we've had such a horrendous track record with strikers. This guy looks good, but 80 million, it is way too much money. It is way too much money.
To be honest, I don't think it's a Graham Potter striker anyways. I was just very confused when I saw that. That's 100% a club signing versus the manager.
Yeah, but we went for him in the summer, so.
But exactly, but in the summer you didn't have Graham Potter. No. Graham Potter likes his strikers to have a little bit of a link-up play. And I look at John Duran, he's a goal machine, don't get me wrong, but he's not really. Remember when he went into Chelsea and he just right away just benched Aubameyang? Because Aubameyang is one of those strikers that also, he's just very physical. He knows how to run in behind. He'll get you a lot of goals, but he's not what Graham Potter usually has up front. And I saw that. I was like, this is a very good signing, but what was the point of getting Graham Potter if you're going to get a striker that he doesn't really like? Stylistically, he doesn't like these type of strikers. You know what I'm saying?
I think he's a little bit different to Aubameyang in terms of, I think he can pick up the ball and do a little bit more for himself, whereas Aubameyang,
I don't know. I just look at him. I don't think he's that much of a link-up shot. Maybe I need to watch him more.
He's not. I wouldn't call him a pure link-up shot. Like I said, I see him more as, like I said, someone that maybe can pick up the ball, drive, take a shot, get into position. Not someone that's gonna, pass, move. We kind of had that with Fulkrug, who got injured, that link-up striker, and I think he would have done well under Potter, but he obviously got injured. But again,
bro, he's a bully. He's a bully. That's what John Duran is. He'd be a very good striker to a lot of teams. I just thought it's a weird signing for us. I thought it was impressive. Don't get me wrong. If you were able to put 80 million and get John Duran, I thought that was a big signing. Like that's one of those signings where it shakes the Premier League genuinely.
Yeah.
I just don't think that's what
he might go Saudi. That's the thing. We can't compete with Saudi. If Saudi want to splash 80 mil.
Yeah,
I don't think.
I don't think it'll go Saudi, but I hear you on that. I've just seen loads of just reading Twitter there while you guys are talking. Loads of West Ham and Spurs fans simultaneously saying, why are we trying to buy this Ninja Turtle? Talking about Brian Bobby. I was like, yeah, a little
Bro,
bit.
he's been offered to teams for a few years now. Just stay
Yeah,
away from
he's been on the market for a
I
while.
don't trust it when you're being offered players rather than going, that's the player I want to sign it. Like, they send you like, oh yeah, you gotta have this guy. Like, stay away, mate. Stay away.
Steve here says West Ham should go for Jonathan David or Santi Jimenez. I mean, look, I was really impressed with Jimenez. He plays for Feyenoord, right? That's the Jimenez. Am I got the right player? Is that Feyenoord Jimenez?
I can't say for certain.
I'm not
But,
sure.
Jonathan David, what I had
said,
said, he wants us to get. Apparently, he told the board do everything to get Jonathan David and Angel Gomez, who you guys will know, for the summer.
He plays for Feyenoord. He scored. He was very good. Again, I was watching him against Bayern Munich the other night. I was very, very impressed with him and his overarching play. Yeah, just very good players. And Jonathan David again. Jonathan David's very, very good.
We've been with him for a while.
Sorry, just for all of the Chelsea fans at the start of the show that said it ain't happening. Garnacho's preference is doing Chelsea. If he has to leave Man United, of course, that's the PR there in case he stays. But yes, he wants to join Chelsea. It looks like it's going to happen, people. Speaking of Chelsea, how's the game going to go this weekend, Staffy? Tomorrow night, 5:30, they play Manchester City, whose fans have seen their club spend 100+ million, but they're not happy because there's still no DM. And of course, they collapsed against PSG midweek. How do you see the game going, brother?
That collapse was ridiculous. Where are they playing again? They're in
Etihad. Is it the Etihad?
Oh, it's away for. Oh yeah. Chelsea lost the first game of the season. I guess.
Yeah.
I think it was against City at home. Yeah, bro. I'm not gonna lie. It's a weird matchup now because I think Chelsea did very well at some part of the season where they just won like 5 in a row, and now they struggled. I think like to get a win, and then in the next 5, and then obviously they just beat Wolves on Monday. And that wasn't it wasn't the best game for them, but they got the job done. And now you're looking at City. I felt like City were building some momentum. They're getting some wins again. They're getting Phil Foden back in form. He had like 5 GA in like 3 games. And who did they smash like 6-0? They smashed West Ham not too long ago. They were smashing teams along the way, and I saw them take a lead against PSG. And I'm like, is Old Man City back? And I'll be honest, Old Man City back. I just took the last word out of it, and I was like, it's just Old Man City. Forget the word back. It's just Old Man City. I watched them. They look like an old team. That's what they are. A bunch of players over 30. You look at the 11 that they played. That's pretty much a lot of the players that won them the treble. And it's like these players used to strike fear in most of us a couple years ago. And I look at them now. Honestly, the lack of legs that they have in this team is insane. The way that midfield gets bypassed is insane. They had Bernardo Silva playing as a holding midfielder. It was him and Kovacic holding the midfield together. And I'm looking at that and I'm like, brother, this team on the transition is going to get absolutely killed. And they did. And I've never seen a Pep team go up 2-0 in the second half and then still lose the game, let alone lose it 4-2. Absolutely insane. You know, this team is just so, oh my God, this team is so overdue a rebuild. And some of the signings, I was listening to Man City fans today earlier, looking at some of their content, whatever, and they're very not happy with the signings that they're making because Kyle Walker went to AC Milan. They didn't get a new right back in. They got 2 good, young and upcoming center backs, Casanova and Vitor Reyes, but they're ones for the future. They're pretty much the only signing that's for the now is Omar Mermoush. And yeah, I think it'll help them get some goals. I think when they're being wasteful in so many games, Nubbin spoke about this a lot on this channel, talking about how many times they go into games and they have like an insane amount of XG and chances created and they don't convert them. They end up losing. I think it will help them with that. But that midfield, oh my God, it's just so bad. And their only option is to get Douglas Luiz on a loan. And I'm not going to lie, I like Douglas Luiz, but I don't think that will be enough. Chelsea, going to tomorrow. Listen, Chelsea have been playing bad, but I'm not going to lie. I might slightly favor Chelsea tomorrow and go against the grain. I know now that you told me that the game is away, but I look at the Chelsea midfield. Caicedo's going to run that show, in my opinion. I don't think they have anyone that's going to be able to compete with Caicedo on a physical level. If they keep the ball, Manchester City, I think Chelsea will have the transition on them. And even if Chelsea keep the ball, I think they'll do enough damage. And I believe right now, and someone reminded me in the comment, Diaz, I believe, is going to be out as well. So that's less depth that they have in the back line. I'll be honest, this Manchester City team, if I'm a Manchester City fan, I should be really worried. I'd be really worried going into this game, and I would be really worried for the rest of the season. Because this midfield, I think tomorrow they're going to get out-muscled by that Chelsea midfield. They haven't been the best recently. I get it. They've had Lavia injured and all that. But the options that they have between Caicedo, between Enzo, between Palmer, they do have better options right now in the midfield to at least physically dominate them. So I think it might be a rough day for City tomorrow, I'll be honest. And I might, as I said, edge Chelsea to win this.
It's a hard one to call. I don't know, man, if I'd be so confident. I'm still not confident in this Chelsea side. You know what I mean?
How do you see
it? Like you said, it's a hard one to call, but I don't have faith that Chelsea have turned a corner. Do you know what I mean? And it's going to be a case of if they're going to be able to take their chances, which is something obviously they've been struggling at. And Man City have the best in the world at taking chances up top. So if it comes down to that, I back Man City. Like, you're right, not getting a DM at this stage is crazy. That should have been one of their biggest priorities with Rodri out like that. I don't know why they've left it so long. I guess that knowing Rodri's coming back, they don't want to go and splash big money on someone that knowing that. And I guess it's similar with Arsenal.
Someone, even when Rodri's here, Lawless, that's the issue.
Yeah, they need that strength in depth, of course. But if they're knowing like, okay, this is going to be number 2, it's one of them ones. But yeah, at home, Man City. I know obviously Chelsea had Conference League and Man City have played a very tough game in the week.
Chelsea didn't have a game this weekend, this midweek.
Did they? Is the Conference League over? Is it done?
The Conference League done.
Not back until March. Yeah. So they even have a game. So Chelsea are well rested. And
they because they haven't got the league format, have they? The Conference League don't have the league format.
No, they have. Yeah. It's just different.
There's just no games for them.
There's no games. They had their final game in a week when no one else played in Europe.
Fair enough. Yeah, full week's rest. So that's going to be a factor. I could honestly see a draw in this game. I can really see a draw. To be honest, I can't.
But why do you see the draw? Do you think it's just because Chelsea can't finish their dinner, or
I think that will be a case of it. I think it's going to be a case of it, and I don't think
that Manchester City. But sorry to interrupt, but that Manchester City back line will give you chances. Like I've been saying this for quite a while now, and it got worse. I'm not gonna lie. Since I said this, we need to stop talking about this Man City team like they're the Man City team for 2 years ago. And I'll be honest. Even I didn't think it would get this bad. Like, I was saying it, and I just thought it was like, yeah. It's not the best, but it is pretty bad right now. Like,
I don't think you can rule them out.
Look at the chances that PSG had, brother. They had so many chances against them. They could have been down 1-0 if it wasn't for who was it that was offside by like a knee? I think it was Hakimi. Hakimi was off by like his knee. His knee was literally offside.
Nuno was offside by like a knee, and Hakimi put it away.
Yeah, there you go. Nuno mentioned.
It was
there will be chances, Lawless, and that's what I'm saying.
It's also the fact that we're 2-0 up, and let's not forget they were 3-0 up against Feyenoord. They were 2-0 up a few weeks ago against Brentford. They have collapsed. They were 1-0 up with 3 minutes to go against Man United and lost 2-1. The vulnerability in this City team, I think they'll score some goals against Chelsea because Chelsea's back line has been leaky. But their vulnerability, the ease of which any team with any level of pace runs through them. Man United run through them, and we have no real pace. If they start this game with their speedy front men on, Chelsea could run riot. Spurs went there and scored 4 goals. Chelsea genuinely could do the same. And I thought that City were building a little bit of confidence with that run of games where they were being unbeaten. And I feel it wasn't just that PSG beat them. It isn't just the PSG scored 4. It was leading 2-0 and they couldn't control the game. And that is the most un-City like performance I've ever seen. 2-0 up and they couldn't control the game. But it isn't the first time this season it's happened. And when they did it against Feyenoord, it was blamed on bringing on the youngsters. When they did it against Man United, it was blamed on it being a derby. Brentford, it kind of went under the radar. I don't know who else lost on that day or around that time that got more attention, but it went under the radar that they collapsed after taking a 2-0 lead very late in the game. They took a very early second half 2-0 lead and then collapsed. And by the way, from the minute they conceded that first goal against PSG, They barely laid a glove back on them afterwards. And I feel as long as they don't miss their chances, Chelsea, as long as they take an early chance or two that they will get, they win. That's it. And the only thing that will let Chelsea down is if their poor clinical edge continues. That's the only thing, because as long as City are in the game, they'll play well. They can get a goal or two up against City, which is not inconceivable. I just don't see. I know they've got Omar Mamouche coming in, and I'm really excited to watch him play in the Premier League. But that midfield, it leaks like a broken fridge. Terrible now. Terrible.
Apparently, they want to play Stones until the end of the season as a DM, and they're going to switch between him and Akanji. It's just not going to work. It is reaching a point, Terry, to add to your point here. It's reaching a point where City, they have to score more than 2 goals to kind of feel like, okay, today we can win the game. And that's by no means is that not going to be sustainable. Because I understand why, but every time they go 2-0 up, I'll tell you this. Every time they go up 2-0, go to Twitter. Check what LB tweets. You'll see LB at 2-0 up saying we need one more goal to seal the game. And I'm like, what's LB waffling about? What do you mean I need one more to seal the game? It's 2-0. But I understand it now, because so many times they go up 2-0 and they become even more vulnerable. And teams now at 2-0, they always say what? 2-0 is the most dangerous lead to have, because the teams against you, they're like, all right, we have nothing to lose now. We're down 2-0, so we're going to start attacking. And every time that happens to City, they end up conceding goals. City are finding it hard right now to win games if they don't score over 2 goals. And I'll be honest, I look at Nico Jackson and the struggle he's been having. I do fancy him to get a goal in this game. If there's a game for him, no, I swear, I'm not even dissing him.
No, I agree.
If there's a game for him to get back, it's probably going to be this one, because he will be afforded chances. He can afford to probably miss 2 chances and then score the third one, because the physical player that he is, he will find himself running at the back line and getting himself in goal-scoring opportunities. He's just bad sometimes for the goal, so he'll probably like miss 2 or 3 and then finally be like, oh shit, finally he scored. There we go, 3rd or 4th chance.
Yeah. No,
like this will be the game for him.
I agree. The Club Brugge, there's also the interesting thinking about the lineup they go with, because the Club Brugge game on Wednesday now for City is massive, because yes, they'll still be in the FA Cup, but in terms of major prizes, if City draw or lose to Club Brugge, their Champions League campaign is over. And I wonder what odds you would have been given if you would have put a bet on in September that City would be eliminated. They wouldn't come inside the top 24 in the group stage. I reckon you'd have got about 2,000 or 3,000 to 1, if not more. I think the odds you would have got would have been gargantuan. It will be that big of, but that also would show the size of the failure if they don't do it. It's to not finish, even in years where good teams have gone out in the group stages of the Champions League. They've still had enough points. A lot of the time, I remember when Man United went out in the group stage once, became 3rd or 4th, but we had enough points still where we would have qualified from like 4 other groups, as an example. Yeah. And that's happened a number of times to a lot of teams. Gone out in the group stage, but bloody hell, look, got 9 points. Would have been here, there, and everywhere in these other groups. To finish not even inside the top 24 is crazy bad. Comment here from Gav's amazing. It says, breaking news, Chelsea's preference is that Garnacho stays at United. I like that. A bit of fun.
It's not true. They want him. Don't lie, Gav. Yeah. Chelsea want him. That's
he's got to lie. He's got to lie. He's panicking. Chelsea plays them well and will be rested. 4-2 Chelsea is what Ronan thinks.
Hey, look at Ronan flexing in that.
I streamed with Ronan the other day. He doesn't live far from you. Big geezer.
Ronan, where does Ronan live?
Well, he said it on live on the stream, so I think it's okay for me. It's like New York-ish area, not far from you.
Ronan, let me know, bro. Because listen, I'm back in the gym, so I'll work out with you if I could look like that.
Where he told me he lived. Yeah, I'm not going to say exactly where, in case there's some weirdos on here. But in fairness, you ain't going to try and hunt this guy down. Oh no, he might have been New York. I think he's Philly. Actually, I think he's Philadelphia. Philadelphia.
Nah,
not be Philly, which isn't near you. Sorry, I'm thinking of somebody else. I think. I think it might be Philly. Might be Philly.
I got a parking ticket there, and I promise I'm never going
back. If time, but for each of you, who are the 3 players from your clubs that you wish never played for your clubs? The 3 players you love that played for your club. So the 3 players that you would wish never played for us, and the 3 players that you love the most.
Di Maria is the first one on that list. I hate that.
I hate him. 3 players that you wish never played for your club. And 3 players. Alan Shearer is one that I loved, that I wish played for my club. Oh, that you loved that they played for your club. Wish they played. He's one I love. One of the first football players I was a big fan of.
Yeah, so there's 3 players the club signed. This is 3 players the club signed that you wish you never did. They're shit.
Yeah, but what's the second part? The second part
is
the 3 you love that played for
3
you.
you loved. Yeah, the 3 you loved.
That they played. Oh, right. Bloody hell. Yeah, Danny Ings. I wish we never signed him. That has been a massive waste of money. I would say, who did we sign for big monies back in the day, man? We signed John Carew. I could be here all day, mate. I could be here all day.
Had a lot of good things.
How about yours? How about yours,
all
Staffy?
the strikers. Let's just say all the strikers that Golden Sullivan signed. There we go.
I'd say Di Maria. He's the only player that I ever bought his jersey, and I actually sold it. And I sold it for $20 in a garage sale. That's how much I hated him. Every other jersey I kept, whether they were bust or not, I kept them. Di Maria, what's his name? Hoyland. It's nothing about this guy. For the money that I'm sorry, bro. Everything about him, I just don't like. I don't hate him. I just don't like him. And the third, I don't, bro. It's a toss up. I'll probably say, like, you could say Maguire because of how much we spent for him. I don't know. There's a lot.
Anthony's in my list, and not because
Anthony. How did I forget that? Sorry, Anthony. Yeah, there you go. Third one.
I don't dislike Anthony or anything like that. I just feel that for his ability, for how much we paid, I wish we'd never. I feel like that deal was one of the biggest reasons why it was so hard for Ten Hag to be successful as well. One, there was less money to spend. Everything about it was awful. I would say because of how hyped we were, the intro and then how bad it went. Alexis Sanchez, I now wish that never ever happened. Yeah. I wish that one never happened with hindsight. And who else? It's hard, because I don't hold a grudge against many. I'm going to go with Angel Di Maria for similar reasons. That there's so much hype around it. 3 players I love the most. Oh my God, Man United: Teddy Sheringham, David Beckham, Wayne Rooney.
Wait. I'll give you non-obvious answers because there's so many players I love that. I could sit here and name all the players since like 2006.
Did you go say the top 3 most loved?
No. I'll name the ones that are not popular to say because like it's during our bad era.
Do you love them more than the popular ones, though?
No. Of course not. Like my favorite player, the first jersey I ever bought was Rooney, as an example, when he wore the number 8. Like Rooney's my all-time favorite player at United. So I'm not even gonna name those. Those are the obvious. Igalo. Oh my God. I swear, Igalo is probably one of the most underrated signings I've ever seen.
Him, yeah.
Igalo came in and was banging goals in the Europa League for fun. Didn't really play much in the league. This guy has so many good goals at United, but because it was a loan from the Chinese league during like Corona and whatever, no one fucking wanted.
So
post Fergie signing, that's a great one. So Igalo, I'm gonna throw one into it that I know you'll hate, but I love Bruno Fernandes. But maybe that's a bit of an obvious one. I'll tell you who I did like, and I always felt he was disrespected at Man United, was Daley Blin. I liked him. I thought he was good on the ball, could play multiple positions. I like Daley Blin.
We signed him for a back 3, and right away we just got Mourinho. It was our fault.
No.
Cavani's one of them too.
I agree with that.
I love Cavani, bro.
Oh, Cavani was great. I was wrong again. It's Boston. He's Boston. He retired to Florida. So yeah, I don't know why. Staffy, I was in New York over the holiday visiting. Maybe that's why I picked up on New York from the last time him and I.
Oh, in Florida. Listen, I'll come to Florida, bro. I'll come to Florida.
Florida's nice.
Me and Rona are gonna link up. We're gonna do straight facts together, Staffy and Rona.
I like it. So yeah, score prediction for the Chelsea City game, gents. What we going with?
2-2. I'm gonna say 2-2.
3-2 Chelsea.
3-2 Chelsea.
I was gonna say 2-1, but it sounds boring, so 3-2.
Yeah, I went 3-2 on the top 6 earlier on today. Now, to speed this up, because we haven't got the whole day, because I know Dan Lawless got a big show tonight he's got to go and do. Let's do score predictions from the other games as well. So we can give a slight breakdown, but just mainly the score predictions. But I'm going to include them this week because they're in the top 6 race. They're in the top 4 race. They might even be in a title race. So Bournemouth, Nottingham Forest. How's that going? It's at Bournemouth. It's at the Vitality.
This is such a... mate. 2 teams that come out of nowhere. Wow. This will be a good game. I'm going to go with Bournemouth at Bournemouth. I'm really liking what Irola's done with that team, man. And They've just got this just never give up attitude about them. Yeah, that is going to be it. That's probably could be the game of the weekend.
They just put 4 past Newcastle as well, bro.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would love to see Bournemouth get Europe this season. I would absolutely love to see it for them, for where they've come. Like a 10,000 seat football ground would be huge. Yeah, I just think this weekend, yeah, it could be a misstep for Forest. And I can see Bournemouth picking up the win, which would be huge. That put them, if Chelsea, same Chelsea, Man United, so Chelsea, Man City do draw, that would put them joint 4th with Chelsea.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah.
Interesting fact: Forest haven't lost a game since November. So
yeah,
really,
Bournemouth haven't lost a game since November.
Bournemouth haven't lost since November.
Yeah. They haven't lost in their last 6-7.
I mean, Forest in the league haven't lost since they got beat 3-0 by City on the 4th of December. So
what's to say an immovable object when it meets a what's the say?
Unstoppable force meets an immovable object. Yeah, it's a little bit like that right now. The other game, Liverpool Ipswich. Liverpool win. We're gonna go Liverpool win. Wolves.
Hey, watch out at Ipswich. They made a couple good signings, so we gotta keep an eye on them.
Wolves at home versus Arsenal.
Wolves. I know,
in.
like Terry said, that Wolves are going down. I don't think they're going down. I don't think they're as bad as it seems. And they did start to turn a corner. Obviously, they've got 3 losses on the spin. I'm gonna go 1-1. I'm gonna say 1-1.
Yeah, that's the hater in you speaking.
All right, well, let's see in it, because if it is a draw, even if it's 2-2, 3-3, I know, Terry, you're more wrong than you're more right.
No, listen, I get what you said. It's Cunha audition, I guess, for Arsenal fans, even though he shouldn't go there.
But that's what they'll say in it. Yeah.
I was gonna win is like 3-1, maybe.
I get that. Tottenham versus Leicester, Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, Leicester's done. I'm hearing from Leicester fans, Ruud van Nistelrooy could be walking. He's on the verge of walking, because he was promised January signings and he hasn't got them. Apparently, like, the fans ain't happy with him. I think Spurs just do it. Like, they've been poor in the league. They haven't got enough. Leicester are horrendous. And they've 6 losses in a row, probably more than that. I'm going to say probably 2-0 Spurs.
5-0 Spurs.
5-0?
Yeah, I think Spurs are going to slap them up. Aston Villa versus West Ham, 4:30 Super Sunday. What are you saying, Lawless? Away at Villa Park.
Oh, mate. We played them last Friday at Villa Park, and we played really well in the second half. It's going to depend.
1-0?
First half, sorry. Yeah, 2-1.
You lost what, 1-0 or 2-1?
2-1.
2-1. We went 1-0 up, and then we lost Fulkrug and Somerville, and then they came back. If Somerville is playing, I back us to get a draw. With the squad that's played against Palace, I think it's going to be. Let me just go with that, because I don't know about Somerville. I think we will probably lose if it's the same squad. Apparently, though, Villa have lost every game after they played in the Champions League. Enter West Ham. So it's probably going to be 2-1 Villa, isn't it?
8-0 Villa. Your next 2 games as well, you're away to Villa and then you're away to Chelsea.
Yes, I'm hoping we'll have Bowen back for Bowen's back on grass. He's back training on grass, and Somerville's been training. So it's just a case of, if Sunday's going to be a little bit too early for them. If it is, then I'm not confident. If not, Chelsea, we go again for Chelsea, and Potter gets his revenge. But I think this season it's going to be a step too far.
Yeah, I get that. And then Fulham versus Manchester United, 7 p.m. on Sunday to round off the weekend's games. What are you saying, Staffy?
Oh my God.
Come on, Staffy.
It's not a good matchup for us, I'll be honest. It really isn't, bro. It's gonna be a tough outing. You know what? We've gotten some decent results over the last few years. The Garnacho last-minute goal. Remember that Pogba volley? We have picked up some points there, but I'm not gonna lie, bro. This is such a tough matchup for us, and I don't know if we're gonna make mistakes again, and we make a mistake every fucking game. Oh my god! Why are you asking me, bro? We're probably not gonna win. Don't ask me.
Let me throw. So Fulham have drawn their last 4 home games. They've only won one of their last 6 league games as well.
Then enter Man
United. Enter Man United.
I'm not gonna predict the loss. I don't have a good feeling about this game. I'm really honest about this.
I'm going with a 2-2 draw.
Hey, I was about to say, I think we're gonna draw probably 1-1, 2-2. It depends on what Jimenez decides to turn up on the day, because he's had some decent scoring spells this season. We don't really get that many goals. I don't know, bro. They're a very good physical team, and I don't think we match up well against them. I think they'll outwork us, and that's the problem. There's a few teams that outwork us, and every time we see a team outwork United, they most likely pick up a result, because we don't have the quality to get us out of games where we don't work as hard as the opponent on and off the ball. So
yeah, we also haven't had a
pretty game.
Yeah, we haven't had a clean sheet since the 1st of December either. We've conceded in every single game. So, and a lot of them.
I'm not even worried about that, Terry, because like most of these clean sheets being gone is down to our mistakes. Like we generally, like at some points, I look at these goals and I'm like, bro, just pick up the ball and put it in the back of your net. It will be equivalent to the goal we just conceded. That's pretty much so it's not even that.
Yeah,
I think they match up well against us. If Iwobi has another masterclass, I might lose my shit, bro. He always cooks us. I don't know why.
I hear you on that. I want to thank everyone who's tuned in. I want to thank everyone who's super chatted, everyone who's hit the like button, everyone who's subscribed.
2-1 Fulham, by the way. I didn't get my picture.
Sorry, yes, I didn't ask you. Sorry. 2-1 Fulham. They might lose Vardy 2 goals. Yeah. They might lose Vardy.
That's fair. Vardy against the high line.
I want to thank you all. Remember, I'm back at around 6:45 tonight for a little bit of poker and chill. I'm bottom of the table on that right now. I was second last week because I came last and now bottom. So I've got to have a good result. And next week we'll be live on Friday in person with everybody playing poker face to face, which will be exciting. So make sure you are all.
He's a rebuild. He's in last place.
Yeah, I'm in last place. It's all right. I've said to him I'm not going to host tonight because the last 2 weeks I've hosted. It's been hard to host a show, manage a stream, and play poker. So I'm like, tonight I'm just going to play the poker. Because last week Hugh Weezy just sat there for the first half an hour silent playing. I'm like, no, I'm doing that this week. So make sure you're all tuning in 6:45 tonight on the Football Terrace. Until next time, everybody, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again soon. Peace.